Our final speaker this afternoon in this panel is Wes Elliot. He is Tuscarora of Six Nations in the Grand River Territory. He is a member of the negotiation team of Six Nations, negotiating with Canada, and has sat on the consultation side of the table for the last 4 years. He is a member of the Hoskanigeta, the Men's Fire. Welcome, Wes.
Sego. My name is Watlehitne Skurori, Haudenosaunee, Hoskanigeta. What I would like to do is I'll give you a few quotes talking about treaties and talking about the Constitution, and then I want to present what I call a formula for peace. Now, talking is sharing. Listening is caring. Those are very important ideas to grasp. Now, when we talk about sovereignty, back in 18th of July, 1701, the Honorable John Nanfan stated this in Albany: "I am glad to see you here and that your number is so much increased. I wish it was 10 times more. For you may be assured that you shall have all fitting encouragement from me that you can reasonably expect. And you may depend upon it that I will do everything to maintain the covenant chain firm and inviolable." In 1765, most people talk about this as being the Haldimand Proclamation or Haldimand Treaty, Haldimand Deed. It states in, "Whereas His Majesty, having been pleased to direct in consideration of the early detachment of his cause, manifested by the Mohawk Indians in the loss of their settlement, which they thereby sustained, that a convenient tract of land under its protection should be chosen as a safe and comfortable retreat for them and others of the Six Nations who have lost their settlements within the territory of the American states or wish to retire from them to the British. I have an earnest desire of many of these His Majesty's faithful allies purchase the tract of land from the Indians situated between the Lakes Ontario area and Huron, and I do hereby in His Majesty's name authorize and permit the said Mohawk Nation and such others of the Six Nations citizens who wish to settle in that quarter to take possession of and settle in that area." That was in 1784. Now we come into a few more quotes here. This talks about our Constitution that we have as Iroquois people, the Haudenosaunee. This comes from the House of Congress, Resolution 331, passed October 18th, 1988. In the first 3 paragraphs, to acknowledge the contribution of the Iroquois Confederacy of Nations to the development of the United States Constitution and to reaffirm the continuing government-to-government relationship between Indian tribes and the Indian states established in the Constitution. Whereas the original framers of the Constitution, including most notably George Washington and Benjamin Franklin, are known to have greatly admired the concepts of the Six Nations of the Iroquois Confederacy. Whereas the confederation of the original 13 colonies into one republic was influenced by the political system developed by the Iroquois Confederacy, as were many of the democratic principles which were incorporated into the Constitution itself. That is from the House of Congress, Resolution 331, dated October 18th, 1988. Now we get into what has been talked about a little bit here. We're talking about the United Nations Indigenous Rights, which have been endorsed by all the countries except Canada and the US. And since it was quoted from here, from this document, I have copies here so you can check to verify exactly what has been said, that it does state that in here and has not been misrepresented. I only want to quote one from here, and this is Article 37, number 1. And it says, "Indigenous people have the right to recognition, observance, and enforcement of treaties, agreements, and other constructive arrangements concluded with states or their successors, and have states honor and respect such treaties, agreements, and other constructive arrangements. This here is a representation of one of those treaties. It's the two-row. And in the early 1700s, 1600s, it was the two-row and the silver covenant chain. The British referred to that as the covenant chain. It was a metaphor for the covenant chain. Now, that entitles it to all the spirits that contain within the two-row. Now, I started with my little talk that's on the website, which goes, "The Great Law of Peace contains the principles which the Creator gave to the Haudenosaunee people to live in harmony with one another in the land. This foundation formed the oldest confederacy of nations in the world. It is our Constitution." Now, when the European contact came, two wampum belts, or treaties, were agreed upon, the two-row and the silver covenant chain. They became the law of the land. Today, they are still the law of the land. They govern the conduct between our nations. They supersede any laws between our nations that are created for so-called justice. In Caledonia, both treaties have been violated. In Brantford, both treaties have been violated. In negotiations, both have been violated. We have never been conquered. We are the only Native nations in Canada that are allies to the Crown. We have our own language, culture, and history, but most of all, we uphold our part of the treaties. This basic understanding of these treaties, the honoring them, then abiding by them, is the formula for peace. Now, this here represents the formula of peace that I have on here. And the first two people that I wish to present a copy of are the two people here. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but these two gentlemen have the least amount of respect at Six Nations. Now, this formula for peace, we talk about the treaties, okay? We have it set up like a house. The treaties are the foundation of that house. The next one we represent is respect, and that is the floor, because it's the respect that of all, respect of your laws, respect of our laws, respect of everything. Now, I want to take this opportunity right here to respect these two gentlemen and their right to say what they did. And I wish to shake their hands out of respect. It is not hard to respect people. It really isn't, but there's a lot more in these than just respect. Because the subfloor of that is the healing. The reconciliation and healing has to take place. That is what has not happened in 4 years. We need to take the reconciliation and healing because there are people hurt in Caledonia, there are people hurt at Six Nations, and nothing is being done to heal. And that healing must take place. The next part is the walls, and that's what we call the education aspect. That's where the truth comes in. That's where people need to be educated. There was governments, individuals, even my own people need to be educated on here. So education is vital on doing this. When it's been referred to inquiry, that's truth. That's education in there. Everything that my two gentlemen friends here have talked about are contained within this formula for peace. They have a place in helping us heal for peace on here. And then the last one here is the roof, and that is friendship. Friendship is part of who we are. It is part of the separation between our two roads in here. Peace, trust, and friendship. There's usually 3 beads in between this, and that's what they represent. And the principles are all contained within this formula for peace. Now, this house that we've constructed here sits on Mother Earth, which is love. The love aspect cannot be overemphasized, it cannot be underemphasized, it has to be there. The love has to be there for us to pursue everything that we want to do. You don't do it out of greed, you do it out of love. This is a very simple formula for peace. It's not complicated. We come here looking for solutions. I don't come here saying that this was wrong, that's wrong, he said this wrong, that's not right. No, I'm looking for solutions. And this is a solution here that we have, a formula for peace for our community.
Wes, you have 5 minutes.
So what we're looking at here is something to all communities, all individuals, municipalities, governments, Canada, to accept this formula for peace and then work at it. If you can work at it, you can achieve great things. Now, as far as the love aspect here, I want to do one more thing to show that the love is there, that I have love. I've been on the other side. I was the very first person into that Douglas Creek Estates, now known as Ganastalo. I was the very first person there on February 28th, 2006. I know what happens. I've been there for 4 years of negotiation, sitting at the table. I know what transpires there. And what has to transpire is a formula for peace. What has to transpire is love. You gotta have love out here. And to show my respect for love, I just want to do one thing. Hold on. What I'd like to do is I'd like to give both of these gentlemen a hug. It's love that's going to get us there. Not anything else, not the hate, but it's love. So in closing, what I wanted to say is, it isn't enough to talk about peace. One must believe in it. And it isn't enough to believe in it. One must work at it. Work is what we have to do. And work, I am here to say I will do too. Because everybody has to contribute. Everybody in this room can contribute. Everybody in my territory can contribute. Everybody throughout Canada can contribute. But work, it must be done. Nyawing.